Welcome back. I want to throw out that the Christmas tree is likely done. This will probably be the last night. We'll get that out of there tomorrow. But at any rate, just in case anybody was wondering, when's he going to get that tree out of there? It's so long now since Christmas. It's fine. All right, we're going to start things off looking at the Philadelphia Flyers at home against the Arizona Coyotes. Vejmelka versus Hart. Farabee fires one wide. The Flyers press. The shots are 3-2 for the Flyers at 5.5 minutes. Hayes to Lawton, there's a near miss there, and then there was a near miss by Sanheim in close. So the Flyers are getting chances. They press with 7.5 minutes left, but Arizona opens the scoring. It's Carcone, who's been good since getting called up, from Hayden at 13:29. The Flyers then press to respond. D'Angelo, turnover chance, that's held. The Flyers get a power play. There's a good cycle there. That's killed off. 9 seconds left. The Coyotes guilty of a delay of game. So we go to the second period with the Flyers having fresh ice and a power play, and they score on it. It's Konechny from D'Angelo and Frost at 25 seconds. It's a 2-0, and he wires it. It does not stay tied for long. Ritchie scores from Hayden and Schmaltz at 1:35. Second periods tonight were ridiculous. The first period, there were, I think, 5 goals in the first 6 games that were played in the first period, and it was like more than that within the first 3 minutes of the second period. So doing my best to keep up. And so, yeah, this game was definitely one of the busier ones. Definitely Arizona with some defensive and goaltending issues in this period. Farabee would tie it up from Frost and Konechny at 4:39, and then Allison scores on a rebound. It was a rush chance, too. Hayes and Lawton with the assists at 8:53. The Coyotes press with 9 minutes left. However, Provorov would add another from Hayes and York at 11:42. Nice to see Cam York on the board again. Then there's too many Coyotes. The Flyers get the power play. They score on it at 13:49. It is Hayes from Konechny and Frost. Keller's then denied as he tries to respond. The Coyotes press with a minute and a half left. They had a 3-on-2 as well that fizzles out. But after 2 periods, it's 5-2. And then the Flyers really had quite a good third period. The shots are 1 apiece at 2.5 minutes. The Flyers were doing a very good job of limiting the chances for the Coyotes, which of course is a Tortorella style. It's a hallmark for him. Coyotes are also giving turnovers. Flyers are controlling play. Nemeth was denied by Hart. They did get some opportunities, but it is Philadelphia that ends up scoring another. It's Van Riemsdyk from Tippett and Frost at 15:02. With 2:20 left, the Coyotes get a power play. That's killed off. Your final score is 6-2 for Philadelphia. They go to 15-17-7. That's 4 wins in a row. Arizona 13-19-5 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this one: Hayes, Konechny, and Frost. The shots, 11-5 Philadelphia in the first, 19-9 Philadelphia in the second, 9-4 for Arizona in the third. Final shots are 34-23 for Philadelphia. Power plays, Arizona 0-1, Philadelphia 2-3. The hits, 26-21 for Arizona. Vejmelka saves 28 out of 34. Hart saved 21 out of 23. And there you go. The Flyers, they're doing well. I don't know how far this goes, but hey, they're doing well, and they're not a pushover. And for Arizona, tough road trip. Tough road trip. Next up, New York in against the Montreal Canadiens. This is the New York Rangers. The Rangers have been hot, and that continues tonight. It was Halak versus Allen. Halak's numbers have definitely improved after a slow start. Things get pushy after a check on Pizzetta. Habs press, but they're kept to the outside. Caulfield with a near miss and close. Gauthier has a rush chance. That deflects out. The shots are only 2-0 for the New York Rangers at 7.5 minutes. Dvorak has a rush chance. That's blocked. The Habs have a 3-on-2. That fizzles out. And with 5.5 minutes left, the Habs still didn't have a shot on net. Suzuki was then denied as the Habs did get some opportunities late there. Doc has a rush chance. That's held. Halak then robs Doc again, this time in the final minute. Gauthier was then robbed on a fast break, also in that final minute. So after 1 period, it is scoreless. But like every other game, second period, things open up. Armia can't bury one in close. The Habs press at 4 minutes. They end up getting a power play. They allow a shorthanded goal. It is Kreider at 7:43 putting the Rangers on the board. Rangers then finish the kill. The shots are 6-4 for the Rangers with 9 minutes left. Schneider would score from Panarin at 12:28. It was a good little press by New York. It was a screenshot. Nice to see Schneider on the board. And then at 13:27, a little less than a minute later, Hedl makes it 3-0 from Lindgren and Vesey. So it's 3-0 after 2. Third period, shots are 3-2 for the Rangers at 2.5 minutes. Caulfield has a rush chance. That's defended. Lindgren, wraparound chance. That was blocked out. The Habs, their defense is pinching because they're down by 3, which is allowing some odd man rushes for the New York Rangers. Zibanejad fires wide during a 3-on-2, so one of those odd man rushes. Rangers, really stingy defense by them in this one. There's a power play for Montreal. Jack-Eye has a shot that's held. It then becomes a 4-on-4. Suzuki has a shot that deflects out. Everything's killed off. We're down to 6.5 minutes left. Armia, who's been all around the net and he's been snake bit, finally gets his first goal of the season from Jack-Eye and Evans at 14:46. That makes it 3-1. With 2:32 left, the Rangers get a power play. So that makes it tough, right? You go from being down by 2 and 5-on-5 and thinking about pulling the goalie to having to pull the goalie with a minute and a half left just to get to 5-on-5, and that means it's an empty net goal, which is also a power play goal. That's rare. It's Hedel from Fox at 18:50. That salts this one away. Your final score is 4-1 for the Rangers. They go to 22-12-6 with the win. Montreal 15-21-3. Just the bottoms dropped out for Montreal. 3 stars in this one: Kreider, Hedel, and Armia, because it's his first goal. Shots, 6-4 Rangers in the first, 12-7 Rangers in the second, 13-7 Rangers in the third. They outshoot Montreal 31-18. Power plays, the Rangers 1 for 3, Montreal 0 for 2. The hits, 21-17 Montreal. Halak, 17 saves on 18 shots. Allen was good, saved 27 out of 30, just didn't get the goal support. So for Montreal, the losing continues on unabated. All right, next up. I knew I had to wear Nashville for this recap because you got to, right? It's Saros versus Kochetkov. What a game by Saros. And it kept building as this game went along. So it's Kochetkov being sharp early on. Rebounds are being cleared by Carolina. The shots are 3 apiece at 5 minutes. There was no indication of the craziness to come. Canes get a power play and they score on it. Stastny tips one in. Pesce with the point shots tipped in at 7:41. Canes are on the board. The Preds then get a power play. They score on theirs as well. It's Forsberg from Parsonen and Yossi at 10:27. So unlike the other early games, we get some scoring in the first period. Multiple goals in the first period nonetheless. Preds then look for the lead, but Svechnikov has a rush chance that's held. The Preds go back to the power play. Shea has a net feed held. That power play was killed off. The Canes have some late momentum. Then with 1 minute left, it's 4-on-4. So that rolls over into the second period. During the 4-on-4, Carolina gets a goal. It's Shea from Pesce and Necas at 35 seconds. The shots are 4-1 for Carolina at 2.5 minutes. And then on their second shot on a face-off win, Ekholm gets a goal to tie things up from Parsonen at 2:47. So it's 2-2. And it's one of those games where, Carolina's controlling everything, just Nashville's getting goals when they need them. Stastny has a rush chance that's defended. The Canes get a power play. That's killed off. Jeannot has a rush chance that's blocked. And then it's Stahl, who restores the lead, the third lead of the game for Carolina, from Fast and Martinook at 9:54. Jordan Stahl might be having the best season of his career, honestly. Necas then had a net drive that was held, but then all of a sudden, Glass ties it up. Yeah, at 11:55. So in each case, when Carolina gets a lead, it does not last very long. Granlund and Carrier with the assists. Things get pushy then after a hold by Saros, of which there were many. Good back and forth with 3 minutes left. With 2:06 left, the Preds get a power play. That's killed off, so we go to the third period with the score tied at 3. Canes press early. I could have just put up there the Canes dominated most of this period. Saros' reason it's tied. The shots are 3-1 for Carolina at 2.5 minutes. The Canes press at 3 minutes, but then Jankowski tips one in front and gives the lead to Nashville from Johansson to Duchesne at 5:06. Canes then get a power play to try to answer. That's killed off because of Saros. Pressed by the Canes after, there's more heroics, and this is where the records start to fall. First, the 55th save that is made by Saros sets a new team record for a regular season game. Burns is denied. The Preds clear it out. The 61st shot for Carolina sets a team record for the Canes in a regular season game. Canes get a power play with 3:40 left. Svechnikov had a sure goal. That was blocked out. That's killed off. The goalie gets pulled with 1:35 left. With 53.8 left, the Canes get a timeout. And I will admit, I was really glad when Sissons hit the empty net at 19:57, because with all the work Saros put in, it would have been a shame if he didn't win it. I was having Ron Tugnutt flashbacks in this one. The final score is 5-3 for Nashville. They go to 17-14-6 because of Saros. Carolina 25-8-6 with the loss. So the 11-game winning streak is done. And now, this is one of those downbeats you're going to have during the season anyways. Nothing to panic over because they dominated the game. Your 3 stars in this one are Saros, Saros, and Saros. They should have been. It's Saros, Pesce, and Stastny. So the shots in this one, 18-7, Carolina in the first. 21-7, Carolina in the second. More shots in the second period than Montreal had in the entire game. And then in the third period, 28-11. 28 shots in the third period. So Nashville, I understand you guys are really fascinated by your goalie doing well. He could use some help. So the final shots, he's too nice to tell you, but I'll tell you. He needs some help. The final shots are 67-25 for the team that lost, Carolina. Power plays, Nashville 1 for 3, Carolina 1 for 4. The hits, 18 apiece. Teams didn't have time for hitting. It was all shooting. Saros saved 64 out of 67. Kochetkov, 20 saves on 24 shots at the other end. And so, yeah, Nashville, I think Saros is earning his pay this week for the next month based on this game right here. All right, next up, Seattle in against Toronto. So this one started out kind of quiet, didn't end quiet. I look forward to hearing from media over the coming days about how is Toronto falling off the map. So Jones versus Murray, it's very reactionary when it comes to, but it's not just Toronto. I know all fan bases, there's that reactionary element, but I think with Toronto having the larger fan base, this happens more readily. So early jump for the Leafs. Engvall has a rush chance that's saved. They were out shooting Seattle 4-0, 3.5 minutes in. Jones playing very well early. The big saves being early in this game. Giordano to Aston Reese, near miss there. Riley has a rush chance that deflects wide. Jones is busy keeping things scoreless. I had to put that on the board. I thought, you know what, Jones, for all of the flack he's taken over the years, he can be a very good goaltender. No cracking shots halfway through the period. Yep, he was on his own, Martin Jones. Good forecheck by Toronto with 1:36 left. They get a power play. That rolls over into the second period. They only allowed 3 shots in the first period. So the Leafs, the rest of that power play is killed off, and then they get another power play. Early clear by Seattle. Larson clears next. Holmberg's denied after it ends. The shots are 4-2 in favor of Toronto, 4.5 minutes in. So they continue to dominate this game. Kraken, they'll get a power play and they score on it. It's Tolvanen, who seems to be fitting in well with Seattle, from Dunn and McCann at 7:02. The Leafs then get a power play. That's killed off. Nylander has a shot that's held. Lindgren fires one wide. The first 2 minutes of the 4-minute power play is done. During the second 2 minutes of the 4-minute power play, Tavares scores. Marner and Matthews with the assists at 10:54. So Marner has a 16-game point streak at home going. For Tavares, that is goal number 407. It moves him into the top 100. Doesn't he bump out Ray Ferraro? Isn't Ferraro the one that's on the outside looking in now? At any rate, that ties the game. And it looks like, hey, this could be that turnaround for Toronto. They've been the better team in this game. However, 14 seconds later, Dunn puts one off Murray and into the net, makes it 2-1. Shots are 9-8 for the Leafs with 7 minutes left. Larson has a blast that's held, and then at 13:50 on a rush, McCann scores. Schwartz and Dunn with the assist. So Dunn's all over the ice in this one. And then Matthews gets robbed from the slot. So still, Jones is making big saves. They're up at this point 3-1. Toronto's trying to get that back. However, Beniers scores his 13th of the season from Eberle and Burakovsky at 17:25. And then the Leafs look to answer, but after the second period, they're down 4-1. It's the second time this season they've allowed 4 goals in a period. The other time, though, 2 of those goals were empty netters. And that was against Arizona earlier in the year. Third period, early power play for the Kraken. Sprong has a shot that's held. That's killed off. And then Wenberg at 2:57 buries it on a 2-on-1 from Gord and Tanev. And that makes it 5-1. Gord then had a rush chance that deflects out. The Leafs press at 9 minutes. They end up with a power play. That's killed off. But you could see that down 5-1, the wind had really gone out of the sails for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that's your final score, 5-1. St. Louis is here. Seattle, 21-12-4. I will get to St. Louis in a moment. 21-12-4 with the win for Seattle. Toronto, 23-9-7 with the loss. The 3 stars in this one are Dunn, McCann, and Tavares. Tavares, goal 407. Yep, belongs in the 3 stars. Shots in this one, 9-3 Toronto in the first, 12-12 in the second. 11-6 Seattle in the third. Final shots 27-26 for Toronto. Power plays, Seattle 1 for 2, Toronto 1 for 5. The hits 32-27 Seattle. Jones saves 26 out of 27. Murray saves 21 out of 26. Ugly stat line for Murray. They're going to look to bounce back in the next game. But Seattle on the road is just a whole different beast than they are at home, which is unusual because most of the time in the NHL we're talking about great home records. But we've got Seattle here, and then we've got New Jersey here. New Jersey winning a game on the road yesterday. They come home. They're not the same team at home as they are on the road. So this is kind of a good example. Binnington versus Schmid in this one. Palat was back, and I thought, okay, Palat being back should help New Jersey. He does not get on the board tonight. Early press by the Devils. The Blues, though, they press at 6 minutes. The shots are 3 apiece at the half. At 11:47, Kyrou scores from Buchnevich and Thomas. So it had been a pretty tight game up until that goal. He sure has a rush chance that deflects wide. The Devils get a power play. Leads to a shorthanded Toropchenko chance that he fires wide. Severson fires one high as it ends. The Devils would press after the power play is done, but after the first period, the score is 1-0 in favor of New Jersey. Second period, Devils press at 3 minutes. Binnington had been excellent to this point, but then here comes New Jersey. First, it's Hughes from Severson and Howell at 3:51, and then on a turnover, Hughes scores again at 8:47, making it 2-1 in favor of New Jersey. Jack Hughes continues to be a star in this league. The shots are 9-3 for the Devils with 9 minutes left. So what are the Blues? What's going to happen? Are they going to be able to bounce back? We know that they do. Devils press with 7.5 minutes left, but it is Barbashev that ties the game on a goal from Saad and Falk at 16:27, and then with 38.5 seconds left, the Blues get a power play. So that rolls over into the third period. Shorthanded Mercer rush. He misses the net there. That's killed off. 2 shots on net for St. Louis in that power play. Tatar has a shot that's held, and then on a rush, Saad buries one on a nice pass from Barbashev at 2:27. So Barbashev's starting to get things together. That's good news. The depth scoring showing up for St. Louis could be great for them going into the second half. He sure has a shot that's blocked. Hughes with the net feed, that gets picked off. Things get pushy behind the Devils' net. New Jersey gets the power play. St. Louis kills that off. Shortly after that, the Blues get a power play. They score on theirs. So timely goals by St. Louis. It's Thomas from Buchnevich at 9:53. Devils then get a power play, becomes 1 minute and 45 seconds of 5-on-3. The St. Louis announcers not happy with the penalty that was called to make it a 5-on-3. You touch a guy's stick, you knock it out of his hands. Even if it's just a gentle touch from a certain angle, referee sees that, the arm's going to go up each time. I'm not saying that is a penalty that would have been called 5 or 10 years ago, just that's how they call it now. And during the 5-on-3, New Jersey scores. It's Heischer from Hamilton and Brad at 12:09. But the Blues, they don't get rattled. They kill off the 5-on-4. Then there's a press by the Blues with 4 minutes left. Howell is denied during the 6-on-5. And then it's an empty netter. It's Thomas from Buchnevich at 19:17. And that's after Binnington made huge saves to maintain that lead. So your final score is 5-3 for St. Louis. They're 19-17-3. New Jersey's frustrating home record continues to be frustrating. They're 24-12-3 overall, but their home record is not very good. The 3 stars in this one, Hughes, Thomas, and Barbashev. The shots in this one, 14-5 New Jersey in the first, 10-7 New Jersey in the second, 15-7 New Jersey in the third. Final shots, 39-19 in favor of the Devils. Power plays, St. Louis 1 for 2, New Jersey 1 for 4. The hits were 21-8 for St. Louis because they didn't have the puck very much. Binnington saves 36 out of 39. Schmid, rough night for Schmid. 14 saves on 18 shots. And now I need to change boards. Okay, now Washington and Columbus. You know, it looked like Columbus might have a good night. And then the rest of the game happened. So it was Kemper versus Merzlikins in this one. The shots are 4-1 for Washington 3 minutes in. So they definitely started on time. Bernie then fires one high from the slot. And Goudreau on a turnover gets a goal from Bemstrom at 5:19. Emil Bemstrom's played well for Columbus since the call-up. Caps press at 7.5 minutes. Columbus blocks. I know Bemstrom's been called up a couple times, but when they call him up, he's been pretty good. Columbus then out of 3-on-2. That's broken up. Protas with a net feed. That's cleared out. The Caps press with 7.5 minutes left. Trevor Van Riemsdyk has a screenshot. That's saved. And Elvis was solid as the Caps were controlling it in that period. They did outshoot Columbus. They outchanced them. Columbus is up 1-0 after 1. But second period, it's 1:51 in. Oshie ties it from Jensen and Orlov. Then we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. There was good back and forth during that as well. Then there's a power play for Columbus. That's killed off. Trevor Van Riemsdyk's denied. Columbus rushes the other way, but 11:15, just past the halfway mark of the game, Aubé-Kubel gets his first goal of the season, so he has to get into the 3 stars. This was the theme tonight. You get a big goal, you're in the 3 stars, regardless of the rest of the game. So that gave Columbus a lead, or Washington a lead, which doesn't last very long as Columbus ties it. Bayreuther scores from Boquist and Bemstrom at 12:59. However, at 17:20, Strome scores. So this is another one of those games where a lot of scoring in the second period. Strome gets one. It's a good press and a bounce that goes the Caps' way. Sometimes the good bounces go your way, and it's part of the reason you're winning. Hathaway would then score at 18:57 from Mantha and Protas. It was top corner, one-timer. And that's 4 goals in the second period for Washington. Columbus, rough period. Columbus then nearly adds another. Or the Caps nearly add another, I should say. But we go to the third period with the score 4-2, right? Early press by the Caps. Columbus presses back 3 minutes in. Mantha then fired one wide on a turnover. Bayreuther gets a goal, and then it's taken away. Foodie had a net drive that was held. We get a power play for the Caps, and they score on it. It's Oshie from Strome and Kuznetsov at 6 minutes and 41 seconds. So instead of getting a goal closer on the Bayreuther goal that's taken off the board, the Caps end up adding a power play marker to make it 5-2. Shots are 7-4 for Columbus with 8 minutes left, but the Caps get another power play. They score on this one too. They were perfect on the power play, and it is Ovechkin, goal number 809. From Strome and Kuznetsov at 13:05, makes it 6-2. That was your final score in this one. Washington goes to 22-13-6. They set a team record with their 7th straight road victory. For Columbus, 11-24-2. And it's not great for Columbus right now. The 3 stars in this one, Oshie, Strome, and Aubé-Kubel. The shots, 13-8 Washington in the first, 16-8 Washington in the second, 11-8 Columbus in the third. Final shots, 37-27 Washington. Power plays, Washington scored on both of theirs. Columbus 0 for 1 on theirs. Hits were 16-14 Washington. Kemper saves 25 out of 27. Merzlikins saves 31 out of 37. So overall, it's another rough game for Columbus. It's another goal for Ovechkin. And we just march along, don't we? All right, next up. Edmonton at home against the Islanders. The Oilers really needed this one tonight. Not only that, but so did Jack Campbell. So it's Sorokin versus Campbell, and if you believe in a game that could help turn around a season, this might be one of those games for Edmonton. Net feed to Aho was blocked. McDavid had a net drive that saved. The Oilers get a power play. The shots are 8-2 at this point as well. And that power play is killed off, but the Oilers go back to the power play. They score on the second one. You can't keep giving them power plays. McDavid would score that one from Draisaitl and Nugent-Hopkins at 9:26. And then the Oilers look for more. The shots are 15-2 for the Oilers with 7.5 minutes left. At the same time as Nashville's just allowing all those shots against Carolina. The Oilers press with 7 minutes left with 2:41 left. The Islanders get a power play. Barzal has a net feed that's blocked. And then the Oilers score shorthanded. It's Yamamoto from McDavid at 18:40. That assist for McDavid, number 500 in his career. So pretty impressive totals for McDavid already. The Oilers then finish the kill and are up 2-0 after 1. Second period, Barzal's denied as the Islanders press. Holloway has a net drive that's defended. And then Barzal wires one top corner, continues his goal scoring streak. Bailey and Cizikas with the assists at 4:42. So Barzal's up to 11 goals. I'm not hearing a lot of people dunking on Barzal right now. He's playing pretty darn well. And the goals are going in the net. The Oilers press to respond. The Islanders are doing a good job of hitting and blocking. However, Holloway would score from McLeod and Broberg at 8:34, and he blasts that one home during a good press. Nurse to Hyman, there was a near miss there. The shots are 8-4 for the Islanders with 7.5 minutes left, and Hyman, make sure that doesn't really matter. At 15:17, Hyman scores from Draisaitl. So even though the Islanders are getting more of the chances, the Oilers have still got 2 goals to the 1 in that period for the Islanders to that point. For Draisaitl on that one, that is assist number 400. So McDavid hits 500 assists, Draisaitl hits 400. The Islanders get a power play, that's killed off, but then in the final minute, it's Clutterbuck scoring from Mayfield at 19:07. Clutterbuck tipped that one in front. No chance on that one for Campbell. That makes it 4-2 after 2. In the third period, early jump for the Oilers. The Oilers press, but they end up going to the box. So it's one of those offensive zone penalties that coaches can't stand. Good cycle by the Islanders there, but it's killed off. The shots are 2-1 for the Oilers at 4 minutes. Cizikas has a turnover chance. That's blocked. The Oilers get a power play. The Islanders kill that off. McLeod's denied on a net drive with 2:59 left. The goalie gets pulled. They're not able to hit the empty net, but with 48 seconds left, the Oilers get a power play. So that works too, right? So they finish out the game. They win this one 4-2. They go to 21-17-2 for the Islanders, 22-16-2 with the loss. 3 stars, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Yamamoto. So pretty impressive game for McDavid to get to 500 assists, Draisaitl to 400 assists, and Yamamoto with a big shorthanded goal in this one. So the shots, 18-4 Edmonton in the first, 11-9 Islanders in the second, and then 11-7 Edmonton in the third. Edmonton played a very smart third period. Good 60-minute game from them. Final shots are 38-22 for the Oilers. Power plays, the Islanders 0 for 3, Edmonton 1 for 4. The hits, 44-25 in favor of the Islanders. Sorokin saves 34 out of 38. Campbell saved 20 out of 22. And I really think this is an important game for Campbell. Nice to see him get the victory. Hopefully this is a sign things are going to turn around for him. Next up, the biggest surprise of the night. So the Vancouver Canucks have won the season series against Colorado. Didn't think I'd see that this year. It's Georgiev versus Delia. Why isn't Delia a regular in the NHL as a goaltender? I've been asking this question for years. It dates back to when he was in Chicago. I've always thought Delia is a good goaltender. So Myers has a shot that's held, and that's the Canucks Myers, not the Ben Myers from Colorado. Miller has a shot held as they press. I thought JT Miller, for all the slings and arrows he suffered recently, I thought he had a good game tonight. Not fantastic, but good game. Lazar has a chance that's held some momentum for the Canucks. Then there's a delayed game call that gives the Canucks a power play, but then it becomes 4-on-4 36 seconds later. Rantanen has a shot that's held. It goes right off Delia's mask. Counts as a save. Everything's killed off, but the Avs press after their power play's done. Lazar puts Taves on the Canucks bench. It was a nice, clean hit, and I've always appreciated those hits that knock a guy onto the other team's bench. Pettersson couldn't bury one on a net drive. Newhook has a net feed. That's cleared out. Shen swore when he turned the puck over. Shen and Miller are the two guys that I think swear the loudest on the Canucks. I think I'm pretty... Like, there are times during a game I'm watching, like, yeah, that's Miller that just swore there. Like, you can just tell. So, Lehkonen couldn't bury one on a rush. Melgen wasn't on the Avs bench at this point either. He had been shaken up earlier. The Canucks go back to the power play. That's killed off. 2:04 left. The Avs get their second power play. Well, what's the rule with the Canucks power play? They can kill one. They can't kill two. So there's a post for McKinnon. Delia holds. However, at 19 minutes, Rantanen scores on that power play from Makar and Lehkonen, and then the Avs press again in that final minute. So it is 1-0 Colorado after one. Second period, Lehkonen gets denied on his own entry, but Girard. Nice rotation on this play by the Colorado Avalanche. England and Newhook with the assists at 1:49. It's 2-0 Colorado. Shen also screened Delia on that one. So Delia had no chance on that one at all. Canucks get a power play, Dries with a near miss. We then had 2 seconds of 5-on-3. That then leads to 1 minute and 27 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. The Avs press, they're kept to the outside. There's a near miss for Besser on a 2-on-1. Avs press with 8.5 minutes left. The Canucks get the power play. That's their 5th power play of the game. There's a lot of power plays in this game. Kuzmenko would score during that one too, from Mikheyev and OEL at 13:15. And then something weird happened. The Canucks put together some goals quickly. Kuzmenko gets the second of the game from Pettersson and Bear at 15:14. Kuzmenko buried the rebound there. And then Besser scores from Horvat at 15:48. Wife's in the room, so of course they did the the Brock Besser thing I do when he scores a goal. Canucks are all of a sudden up 3-2. The Canucks then get their 6th power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. Besser was then denied on a fast break. So it's 3-2 Vancouver after 2. Third period. Canucks press at 1.5 minutes. We then had a power play for the Avs. Rantanen has a shot that's held. Girard fires one wide. The Canucks killed it off. Yeah. Mikheyev is denied and close. The Canucks get a power play. That gets killed off. The Avs in the second half of that period, they were all over the Canucks zone. They were all over the Canucks. Delia making saves. The Canucks blocking some shots. The Avs pull the goaltender with 2:16 left. Don't blame them. They had all kinds of zone time. However, at 18:24, JT Miller hits the empty net from Pettersson and OEL. So that's his, I think they said, 3rd goal in 17 games for Miller. He's got to get it going. With 1 minute left, the Avs call a timeout. Whatever they discussed, it doesn't work. Your final score is 4-2 for Vancouver. They go to 17-18-3 with the win. For Colorado, they're 19-15-3 with the loss. So the return of McKinnon has not had the effect that was hoped. 3 stars are Kuzmenko, Rantanen, and Delia. The shots in this one, 13 apiece in the first, 19-7 Vancouver in the second, 11 apiece in the third. Final shots, 43-31 for Vancouver. Power plays, Colorado 1 for 5, Vancouver 1 for 7. Hits were 29-24 Vancouver. Georgiev saves 39 out of 42. Delia saves 29 out of 31. So, yeah, pretty good game by Delia. I thought Georgiev played well too, and the Canucks, they were full value for the win tonight. This might be one of the better games they've played in, I'll say, 6 weeks? 6-8 weeks? They didn't have to go to a shootout, and this was a team that I know Colorado's been beat up, but it feels like it's one of their better wins. So, next up, Pittsburgh. So the Penguins in against Vegas. So this game drove me nuts. Why? Because the app on my phone, the NHL app, was a minute and a half ahead of this game. So before the goals were scored, I would see it on the app and I'm like, all right. And that meant that the power plays were kind of spoiled as well, right? Just imagine if you're watching a movie or a TV show and you've got spoilers a minute and a half ahead of everything you're watching. It is distracting. So it's DeSmith versus Hill in this one. Eichel back in the lineup for Vegas. He played very well. Kessel scores on the first shot of the game. 152 in from Cotter and Carlson. Cotter had a good game here too. It was open net and buried. So Cotter with a nice net feed, and Kessel puts it in against his former teammates. Penguins look to answer. Hill's mask was off as the Penguins press, so that leads to, of course, a whistle. And at 5:17 on their third shot, Vegas gets another goal. It's Eichel from Roy. The shots are 5-4 Vegas at 7.5 minutes. Hill off to a pretty good start in this one. Vegas gets a power play and they score on it. It's Stevenson on what was their 8th shot of the game from Stone and Eichel at 11:21. So rough start for DeSmith, rough start for the defense as well for Pittsburgh. That was one-timer. That was glove side as well. Dumoulin then has a shot that's held as the Penguins press, but after the first period, it is 3-0 for Vegas. So Vegas didn't get the memo that you're not supposed to score a bunch of goals in the first period. Vegas doesn't care. Do things their own way. Second period, shots are 6-2 for the Penguins at 4.5 minutes. Cotter was denied on a rush. And again, Hill with a really good game. And I think that's worthy of pointing out because Aiden Hill's recent, I want to say the last 3 or 4 starts, he's struggled. Tonight, Aiden Hill was very good. His positioning was solid. Not the crazy rebounds and not being caught out of position. Penguins draw a power play. Joseph has a blast this block. The power play's killed off. 2 shots on net for Pittsburgh there. Penguins press with 6.5 minutes left. Vegas was guilty of a lot of icings at this point too, as Penguins are really controlling it. Then there's a press by Vegas. They're kept to the outside, but with 11 seconds left in the power play at 19:49, Stone gets the 4th goal for Vegas from McNabb and Eichel. So it's 4-0 Vegas going into the third period. Third period, good back and forth early. Kapanen has a rush chance that's blocked, but then on a turnover, Pittsburgh sets it up and scores. Ty Smith gets his first as a Penguin from Gensel and Crosby at 4:04. Then there's a press by the Penguins. Pahal clears it out there. Shots are 2-0 though for the Penguins at 7.5 minutes. And I thought that was worthy of noting because Vegas is very often really, really good in the second half of a third period. So there's a power play for the Penguins. That's killed off. Vegas had 1 shot halfway through that third period. McGinn has a sharp angle shot that's held. There's a press by the Penguins with 9.5 minutes left. But at 12:05 on a rush, Cotter gets a goal from Kessel and Carlson. So Cotter sets up Kessel with a beautiful pass in the first period. Kessel returns the favor in the third, does the same thing. Cotter buries it. Penguins then get a power play. That's killed off. But at 18:30, Crosby gets one for Pittsburgh from Raquel and Gensel. It's his 20th of the season for how many years in a row? Crosby's had a lot of 20-goal seasons. So that was a good forecheck and a turnover as well. But while they win the third period, they do not win the game. Final score is 5-2 in favor of Vegas. They go to 26-12-2 with the victory. Pittsburgh 19-13-6 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this one: Eichel in his return, Hill in his rejuvenated rebound game, and Kessel, who had a really good game against a team he used to play for. Shots 13-9 in favor of Vegas in the first, 20-12 Pittsburgh in the second, and then 11-6 Pittsburgh in the third. Final shots were 40-31 for the Penguins. Power plays, Pittsburgh 0 for 3. Vegas scored on the only one they had. Hits were 34-24 for Pittsburgh. They outshot him, and they outhit him. DeSmith saved 26 out of 31. Aiden Hill, 38 out of 40. That'll save that save percentage a little bit. He was down to, I think, 897 coming into this game. Something along those lines, and now it should be better. All right, last game of the night, Boston in against LA. And LA played a really good game, but Boston in the third periods. What is it with Boston in third periods? So, Swayman versus Copley in this one. There was an early jump for Boston. Had to pause for a helicopter going overhead. Anyways, early jump for Boston. The shots are 3-0 in favor of the Bruins 3 minutes in. There's a 9-minute stretch without a whistle. So this game went fast. These teams, they were renting the ice by the hour tonight. Kings pressure with 9.5 minutes left. Foligno has a rush chance. That deflects out. Bruins press with 8.5 minutes left. The Kings, though, are blocking and hitting. Really solid defense by the Kings in this one. Arvidsson's denied on a face-off win, but then at 16:04, Danault scores, I think it's his 13th of the season from Iafallo. Makes it 1-0 LA after one. So really strong first period, I thought, by the Kings. They were outshot a little bit, but I thought they had a good first period. Second period, Kings get an early power play. There's an aggressive penalty kill by the Bruins. That's killed off. Pastrnak has a rush chance. That's held. The Bruins press at 6 minutes, and eventually they score. Pastrnak scores from Marchand and McAvoy at 6:26. The Bruins then get a power play, and they score on that as well. It's Marchand from McAvoy at 8:47. So in a little over 2 minutes' time, Boston's gone from being down 1-0 to being up 2-1. But LA does answer. It's Dursey from Roy and Kopitar at 11:08. I knew this had happened. Roy. I gotta be careful. It's Roy in LA, Raw in Vegas. So 11:08, and it's a goal scored bar down by Dursey, ties up the game. Frederick and Lemieux then had a pretty good tilt. The LA announcers gave it to Lemieux. I'll say it was a draw. Arvidsson then has a rush chance that's saved. The puck bounces on the goal line on a shot, and Swayman gets it out. It's one of those things where it bounces on the ice, and it just would not bounce across the line. So after 2 periods, it's 2-2. And thankfully, that puck didn't bounce in across the line if you're a Bruins fan. So third period, Byfield misses one high on a rush. I thought he played decently. There were no shots in the period at all, 4 minutes in. So both teams playing well defensively. 7.5 minutes in, it already felt like overtime. Because it's LA, they play overtime games. Boston had no interest in that. They wanted out. It's so late. It's way past their bedtimes. They got to get this game done. Iafallo's denied and close. And then Frederick tips one out of midair. Yep, from Carlo at 10:36. That makes it 3-2 Boston. And then at 11:10, so less than a minute later, Frederick scores again. That's his 9th of the season. It's a new career high in goals for Trent Frederick, who is quietly putting together a very good season. If he becomes a 20-goal scorer this year, that's a huge bonus for the Boston Bruins. Foligno and Coyle with the assists on that one. Coyle then had a wraparound chance. That was held. Bergeron had a chance. That was held as well. Goalie pull with 2:50 left. And then the Kings turn it over to Pastrnak. You don't turn it over to him. He scores at 17:33. That's the second goal of the game, and it makes the score 5-2. That's your final. Boston wins their 30th of the season. I did play shipping up to Boston when the game was done. The record is now 34-4. On the LA side, they're 22-14-6 with the loss. The 3 stars are Frederick, Marchand, and Danault. I was surprised Pastrnak didn't get the second star, but Marchand was pretty good too. Shots in this one, 8-6 Boston in the first, 15-6 LA in the second, 8 apiece in the third. Final shots, 29-22 in favor of the Kings. Power plays, Boston scores on the only one they had. LA didn't score on the only one they had, so only 2 power plays. Hits 30-24 for Boston. Swayman saves 27 out of 29. Take that, Swayman haters. And Copley saves 17 out of 21. So, again, I will go to bat for Swayman as soon as I see him in net. I get a little nervous because I know if he allows a bad goal, Bruins fans are going to just go all nuts about it. But he had a really good game tonight. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.